Hi, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. I hope you find this webinar to be useful and hopefully full of stuff that you can take back to your team. So today we are going to do a deep dive into Atlassian's newer ITSM capabilities. And specifically, we're going to cover all of the things that have come to Atlassian that build on top of what was formerly called Jira Service Desk. Now the whole thing is called Jira Service Management. And we're going to do 3 different live demos of asset and service management, incident management, and change management solutions in the tool. This is effectively an extension of last week's webinar, which was Jira Service Management Fundamentals, where we covered all of the basics of Jira Service Management project capabilities. So if you didn't see that webinar, I highly recommend checking it out. And yes, our wonderful project coordinators, I believe Kylie just dropped that link into chat. So please feel free to check that out. It's about 60 minutes. It's a pretty in-depth overview of all of the basic functionality of Jira Service Management projects. But today we're going to do all of the ITSM stuff that lives on top of that. This space is rapidly changing, so we will continue putting out webinars pretty much once a month about this. We actually put out webinars every single Thursday on different topics. But feel free to follow our YouTube channel or whatever one does to YouTube to get updates. And you'll get a lot of information about what's new in these tools. So as I mentioned before, I am joined by our project coordinator, Kylie Braun. And she is going to be checking chat for questions and answering them. And I'll be doing QA at the end. So let's hop right in. Jira Service Management fundamentals, that was the one that we did last week. That would cover customizable customer portals, prioritize customizable queues, SLAs, connected knowledge bases, automation. If you want to know any about that, check out the YouTube link that we just sent in chat. Let's talk about the tools, though, that we're going to use today. So Jira Service Management is, as I said, a rebrand of Jira Service Desk, and it describes an ecosystem of tools that work in concert together. So specifically, the tools that have either been created by Atlassian or brought in and merged in the tool set are these 4 tools here. The first one is Insight, and Insight is an asset and configuration management database that integrates seamlessly with Jira Service Management projects in Jira. They call everything in there an object because it covers both assets and configuration items. So you can manage your whole CI system, and we'll see that in a little bit too. So basically, it's a CMDB plus an asset management database. Insight is native and only available with Jira Service Management Cloud Premium and Jira Data Center, or I guess Jira Service Management Data Center. If you have either of those, congratulations, you just inherited an entire asset and configuration management database. If you would like to get that functionality, you will need to upgrade to either Data Center if you're on server, which you have to anyway because server's going away, or upgrade to Premium in cloud. The next tool that works alongside Jira Service Management is Opsgenie. And Opsgenie is an alert, incident, and on-call management system for operations teams. So basically, it integrates with hundreds of monitoring tools and centrally manages the alerts from those tools and then routes them to the appropriate teams and team members. So when something goes wrong, you can open, it'll notify you, you go to the tool, and then if something's really wrong, you can run incident management from inside Opsgenie, although it's going to change eventually, but stay tuned for more updates on our webinars and we'll tell you when that changes. But there's an incident command center that we're going to go over in a demo today as well. And when everything is done, Opsgenie also supports post-mortem investigation. Opsgenie is a cloud product and comes native with Jira Service Management Cloud Premium, and it is a separate cloud product for Data Center. So you would need to connect that to Jira Service Management Data Center. The other tool that we're going to be relying heavily on for all the background wizardry happening today is going to be automation for Jira. This is a GUI-based low no-code automation engine for Jira. It's hugely powerful, and it allows you to delegate automation responsibilities to project administrators as well if you wish, which as a Jira administrator, I really appreciate because I can let the people closest to the work run their own automation without me needing to update it all the time. The last tool that's going to be integrated into the service management base product that we're talking about today is Statuspage. And Statuspage is a remote signpost that indicates the status of your systems for both, or whatever you want, internal and external customers. So customers can subscribe to a status page and they can get updates on services. And Statuspage integrates very well with Jira Service Management and Opsgenie, but it is a separate product as well. Additionally, there are some features that have been added to the project menu section that we're going to talk about within Jira Service Management. Specifically, there are ITSM related queue categories, operation shortcuts to on-call schedules, there's services, alerts, a change calendar. All of this is very configurable within your own instance. So again, if you have Jira Service Management already, which you would use for things like queuing and SLAs and a service portal, all of this lives on top of that. All right. So the demos that we're going to do today, I'm going to show you 3 end-to-end demos of these new ITSM features that will save your teams lots of time and effort, especially through the automation. I hope we have enough time to get through all of them. Specifically, we're going to cover asset and service management, where we will report a broken laptop and find a replacement and basically service that broken laptop request. Next, we're going to do incident management, where we will see a user report one of our services as down, and then the life cycle of managing that incident. At the very end, we're going to see sort of a tag on to problem management, but we're not going to dive too deep into a problem management example. Then lastly, we're going to do a change enablement example where we will see change requests automatically created, assessed, and in the case of standard changes, automatically closed directly from a developer committing code in a repository. We'll also see a manual way to do change enablement as well, but the real power here is that we're going to see automated change tickets created and change tickets automatically resolved based on their calculated risk, which is going to be really cool. I hope you enjoy it. First, before we dive into those live demos, I just want to talk very quickly about why you might be listening to us right now. We are Expium, which is a platinum solution partner with Atlassian. Atlassian makes the software and they rely on their partner network to deliver services around that software. So specifically, the services that we specialize in are training. So training on anything. That includes free webinars like this, but we also do private and public classes around Atlassian products. We do Jira administration. We do Jira Align end user and administration. We do Jira Service Management classes, all that stuff. We also do consulting. So implementation, upgrades, migrations, custom solutions within the Atlassian ecosystem. There's actually a lot of cool consulting stuff around business team stuff, which is in some of our other webinars. We also have an entire custom development sister company, full stack shop, occupying the same offices. They're right over next door. And basically what that means is if you need a solution built in the Atlassian ecosystem, we can build it for you. As long as there's an API, we will make it happen. All right, so moving on to the demos. The first demo, like I said, is asset and service management. So this is for service teams and IT teams. And the challenge for those teams is that sometimes we're not really tracking and managing our assets. And if we are, we're probably tracking and managing them in a tool totally separate from where we're doing our services. And so the solution is we're going to create an easy to maintain asset database that seamlessly integrates with our ticketing system so that we're never doing separate updating activities. It's happening right there in the world. And the tools that we're going to use specifically are going to be Jira Service Management, Insight, and automation for Jira. All right, so let me swap over into the tool and come over here. All right, so this is the internal portal. And again, in our Jira Service Management Fundamentals webinar, we'll learn how to customize this portal. But here, as an internal employee, I am logging in to our company's help desk, and I see I've got three different departments that I can submit requests to: HR, facilities, and IT. So I've got a broken laptop. I'm going to report that to IT. And the first thing is I see all of I see IT's service catalog listed and grouped here. I've got a computer problem, and specifically, I want to request a new laptop. There's also lots of knowledge-based stuff going on in the background. That's very cool, but that's for a different webinar. All right, so requesting a new laptop. It's me that needs the new laptop, and why am I requesting it? Well, my current laptop is damaged, and my cat spilled water, or actually, I'm guessing my cat knocked it off the table, as cats are wont to do. And right here, we see our first bit of fancy automation happening in the background and our database connected to our ticketing system. What's happening here is that I've got a managed list of supported laptop models living in Insight, which is our asset database. And right here, this is pulling up all of our actively available models. And I could even filter that down to only show models that we have in stock, but I don't want to do that for this example. So I would like a new MacBook Pro 13-inch from 2020 and submit. And what I'm seeing here is the customer visible page that's telling me where my ticket is, and I can see the customer visible status here. It's waiting for approval. Great. Actually, if I refresh too, there should be some additional people added to it. Yep, there we go. So I can also see that Vicky, who is my manager, has been added as the approver for my new laptop automatically. So that's the end of the customer side of the world. Let's turn around, flip the camera, and put on our agent hat and fulfill this request in the background. All right, so this is the screen that the agent fulfilling the request is going to see. And there's a lot going on here. I'm going to cover the ITSM specific functions of it. The very first thing I can see is that the laptop model that the person selected is here as an object. And I can expand this to get more details. And this is data saved about our supported model. So I can see that, yeah, it's a 13-inch, it's got this kind of chip, it's got this kind of RAM, it's got this kind of storage. So I don't have to do any back and forth with the customer about, hey, what kind of model did you want and how much memory? This is the kind we offer, and we can also surface those details for the customer in the portal as well. The next great thing going on over here is that I've got my affected equipment is attached to the ticket as well. So through an automation, Jira went and figured out that Brian, who submitted the ticket, has a laptop. Go ahead and put that laptop on this ticket. So my asset database and my ticketing system are seamlessly integrated here. And if I expand this, I can see all the information about that laptop. I can see the serial number, the name of the laptop, when the warranty expires. So lots of context for fulfilling this ticket. I can see it's still under warranty. I can send it away to get fixed. And another automation running in the background also automatically updated this object to be in a damaged status. So I can see that here as well. So all of this already, I mean, the serial number has prevented a lot of back and forth in the ticket. Hey, what serial number do you have? What's going on? My asset database is automatically updated without my agent having to remember to go do that. And the agent can see how to service it here as well. The last automation that I alluded to earlier is that this particular workflow requires an approval, and Jira went and figured out who submitted the ticket, figured out that person's department's manager, and added that manager to the approver section here. So Vicky, when she logs in, she will see a giant approve button here. She'll also get an email. She can approve it from the email. Lots of nice stuff happening there. So that's the agent fulfillment side. Let's dive deeper into Insight and look at even more context around the issue. So if I click on this graph button for the affected laptop, and if I double click on the user, I now have, that's interesting. I wonder what happened to that. And there we go. There's that visual. There we go. So I can see all of the information related to my user, or I guess the user that submitted the ticket. I can see that he has this laptop with all of these details. Again, the laptop is damaged. I got the price, the warranty expiration date. I can see that he has this monitor, this phone. I can see that I'm actually working in 2 different departments. That's for demo purposes, but you know, I can see that Brian is a member of the HR department, and the HR department manager is Vicky. And I can also see that Brian works in St. Louis, which is great because when I go to fulfill the laptop, I'm looking for free laptops in St. Louis. All right, and I can also dive in further into the model by clicking here, or I can go up to Insight and I can open up my object schema, which I have open here in a new tab. So let's see a little bit more about Insight. With Insight, you can have different schema, and schema are kind of like Jira projects. I guess it's a good metaphor. Projects have issues, schema have objects inside of them, and object types. And here, my company has a CMDB object schema, a CRM object schema, a customer relationship management database, and this is a configuration management database. I've got a list of employees, I've got a list of IT employee assets, and also a list of services that my IT department manages. And we're going to dive into the services much later. But for now, let's step through these a little bit. Let's take a look at the CMDB and at the IT employee assets. So my CMDB, here I've got all of my configuration items, and these are automatically updated through a network discovery process. So if I'm troubleshooting network problems or services problems, I've got all of my information right here in the company. That's just an example of how powerful Insight is. I've got all this context right here to solve my problems. If I go to the IT employee asset schema, this is where we're going to solve this laptop problem that we started out trying to solve earlier. So I've got my hardware listed over here and different object types. I've got laptops, monitors, and phones. And then I also have metadata here as well. I've got locations, vendors, and then I also have a list of supported hardware models living here. The supported laptops is what was displayed on the ticket when I first went in, and you can see that only 3 laptop models were displayed. That's because one of these laptop models is no longer in service. Actually, if I add the status column here, we can see that the retired model did not show up in that ticket. And I like using metadata because all the data that I can put around this laptop object, I don't have to add to every single laptop in the future, which is nice. Anyway, let's go ahead and solve this problem. So Brian's laptop is damaged, and I want to, Brian requested a new MacBook Pro 13-inch 2020. So I'm going to find models that are 13-inch 2020s. I'm going to update that. And I could also further filter my search to a location, but the list is short enough that we can see that if I add location here, there we go. I can see that indeed, very conveniently for this demo, there is a MacBook Pro 13-inch that is in stock, available in St. Louis. So I can just go ahead and swap the owners on those assets, or I could automate that in the future with a ticket button that says like assign new laptop. And there we go. My problem is resolved. Brian has a new laptop. My asset management database was updated, and everything is in alignment. All right. So there are a lot of automations running in the background, like you saw. That is all powered by automation for Jira, which is fantastic. If I go to automation rules, you can see that I've got a set of service management rules living back here. One that finds reporters hardware and adds to affected equipment. One that notifies IT staff of upcoming warranty expirations, that's great. Basically generates a ticket or an email, depending on what you want, to say, hey, these laptops are expiring. It sets approvers based on the reporter's department's manager. It sets approver based on the reporter's related insight field. Actually, that one's disabled. We also have one that updates the insight object status for damaged equipment. So there's some other automations you could run. You could do like asset deprecation. We also see things like auto-routing Jira issues based on linked insight objects. We see things like updating contracts. You can do all kinds of things with automation for Jira back here. All right, incident management. So let's come back to the presentation slides. We'll talk about the next demo. All right, so incident management. This is for IT operations teams. And the challenge that those teams have is, how do we respond quickly to get things back on track and to ensure proper follow-up after we do get them back on track? Because obviously incident follow-up is just as important as getting the thing solved in the first place. So the solution in Atlassian tools is a centrally managed alerting system, tracking of deployments and service relationships, an incident command center, and integrated communications, basically providing a space for people to solve the problems, giving them as much context as possible, as much knowledge as they can to solve the problem. And the tools that we're going to use is a very complex suite of Jira Service Management, Opsgenie, Statuspage, and Confluence. Whoa, here we go. Okay, let's hop back into the tool. This is a pretty in-depth demo. All right, so here I am back at my portal. I'm an end user. I just had a problem that I can't log into our company website, and I know that that's an issue, so I need to report a system problem. I'm going to come to servers and infrastructure in our service catalog here, and I'm going to report a system problem, and I'm going to say the website is not working. Describe what happened. I can't log in. Right here, we can choose affected services, and this is a centrally managed list that integrates between all of our Atlassian products about the services that we manage. And each of these services can connect to a code repo. So again, everything's tied together here. But as an end user, I can say, yeah, well, the website is affected. And then as an agent, I can add more services if I know that those are also affected by this problem. How urgently does this need to be fixed? Yeah, pretty darn fast. We do a lot of business, actually. Let's say critical. And it's a widespread problem. All right, submit that ticket. Okay, so now let's turn around and deal with this from the agent side. So the first thing that I would actually come to a queue. Let's go to our incident queue and see open incidents. Okay, so the very first thing that I see here is it actually looks like there's a couple of open incidents right now that are problematic. I've got the one that I just submitted through the portal a moment ago. Website is not working. Then I also see can't log in and website is down, submitted by ostensibly other people. And the first thing I want to do is I want to link all of these together. So I'm going to link these issues, and I'm going to say that these issues are caused by 180. So basically, I've just created kind of a master issue. And eventually, once I close this ITSD 180, the other tickets will close as well, which is helpful for managing large queues like this. Yeah. Let's go ahead and hop into the ticket. And we can see the linked issues here. And then something else that's really cool is because I listed a service on this ticket as well, I can see open incidents related to that service. And we see that indeed this ticket is the one that's related to the service, but any other ticket in our system that has website listed is going to see that there is an open incident about that. So our agents have a ton of context already about what's not working. We can also get a services map here, and we can see what ties to the website. we can see that our loyalty program, inventory program, and payment system all relate to the website. And also what we're seeing here is that the website is a tier 1 service, which means we got to get this fixed right away. We can see the relationships here, we can see the service ID, and we can see linked issues relating to that service as well. All right, and we can also see our linked issues over here. Something else, if I zoom out in this menu, if we want to get to that list of services in general, I can always come over here and click on services, and then I can click on the website, and I can see more information about this as well, just in a different view. Going back to services too, I've got all of my tiers listed here as well. You'll also see that we can even subscribe to external services that our company relies on. We'll do that with Statuspage later, but you can see that Zoom is actually something that we subscribe to. It's a minor service, but it matters for our company. All right, so anyway, back to the problem at hand. We got to get this solved because our website is down. Open incidents, grab my master ticket. Okay, so the first thing I can do is I'm going to go confirm that that's not working. Indeed, I find out that our website is not working, so I'm going to from here create a major incident. And so based on what we know, it's a major incident. Unlike a standard incident, a major incident requires immediate resolution. So we're going to keep the same message, website not working. Incident description, I'm probably going to clear that out. That's unnecessary. We're going to say this is a P1, and it is I'm going to go with a SEV1. SEV0 seems slightly more disastrous than that. So create major incident. And I can also link those link tickets automatically to that. So yes, please link all of this to my major incident. All right, and I've got a major incident listed now here too. So let's go ahead and switch over to Opsgenie, which is where that major incident is housed and where we're going to deal with it from here. But before I dive into solving that, let's take a little side path and see other ways we could get to this major incident and other ways that it may have been raised. Specifically, it would probably happen through our alerting system. I would definitely have a heartbeat monitor on whatever systems are supporting my website. So I probably would have seen that already. And in fact, right here, we can see, well, first of all, this is a list of all of the alerts coming in from my different monitoring tools. If we scroll down a bit, you can see that we actually have a lot of Zoom alerts coming in because we have subscribed to Zoom's status page. And so anytime Zoom goes out, we get data center maintenance information, stuff like that here. And we can route this to not alert people, or we can route it to aggregate alerting. And then here I see that I've got a heartbeat that says my website is not responding. And the responding team is the IT operations team. That IT team is going to have an entire on-call schedule. First thing I can do is acknowledge that alert. And then from here, there's actually a list of actions that we can program in, into Opsgenie. So I could even automatically restart whatever the hosting service is, like let's say AWS, for our website right here from the alert if I wanted to. Or I could create an incident with this alert as well. So if I hop here into IT Ops, I can also see the rest of my IT operations alerts as well. And if I dive into my alert, I can see an entire history of who was notified. Did they open their emails? I mean, this is really in depth about, for when we do postmortem, we can figure out who opened what when and what the responder states are. So yeah, a lot going on here. So my alerting system would probably have told me about this long before a user figured out that it didn't work. And if that was the case, we would have created a major incident. While we're still talking about the teams though that are going to fix this, let's come over here to the on-call schedule, or actually even better, teams. I've got an IT operations team here. And I've got routing rules for all alerts that are going to hit that team. So first of all, if anything is greater than P3, it's going to go through our escalation policy. If not, it's just going to go to whoever's on call and then stop there. So we've got multiple routing rules we can configure up here. Then we have the escalation policy that I just mentioned before. So if an alert's running through our escalation policy, first it's going to go to the on-call user. If they don't respond in 5 minutes, it's going to go to the next on-call user. And if they don't respond in 5 minutes, it's going to go to everybody. And everybody in my team has the option of how they want to receive alerts from Opsgenie. We can get it through SMS, we can get it through push notifications, you can get it through phone calls, you can get it through email, or all of the above if you'd like. And then down here, I've got my on-call schedule. We decided to configure our team to have a day shift, a night shift, and a weekend shift. You can configure it any other way you'd like. And there's even some nice things in here, like I can click take on call for an hour, and it will automatically route everything to me and then save that down here under the final schedule. But it turns out that I'm actually the one that's on call right now anyway. Every Thursday, it looks like. All right, so that's enough of that side path. Let's go ahead and solve this problem. So I'm coming back to incidents, and I'm looking at our major incident here. Priority 1 website is not working. And let's walk through this page together. First thing is I've got an incident description. I then have a list of the impacted services. We saw that a little bit earlier. I then have this potential causes section where I can investigate problems. So let's go ahead and do that right now. That service is connected to a repo. And here I'm going to get a list of all of our deployments over time from that repository. In this situation, we can see that I had a successful deployment back on September 13th. We can see that just a little while ago, I actually had an unsuccessful deployment. So something went wrong. And I can choose either of these deployments, and I can select either the deployment or a specific commit in that deployment as a potential cause of this problem. So I'm going to add that potential cause here. And then I've got it listed in here. That particular commit, I can always go hop over into the pipeline in Bitbucket and investigate that further if I want to. Oops, let's back out of here. All right. Then looking further down, I've got severity. I've got associated Jira software issues, so maybe the bug fixes that I'm working on. So once I have the problem solved, I can create a bug fix for that, or I can create like a problem ticket to go solve later. And then I also have all of my related service management requests. So again, everything I need to see in one place. We can also decide to require a postmortem or not after this incident. Then over here, I've got my communication section, and I can kick off an incident command center, which opens up a conference bridge. I can also update stakeholders. So all of my services can have listed stakeholders, and I can choose to send those stakeholders a status update directly from here. I can also see all of the alerts that are associated with this as well, and I can bulk acknowledge those alerts later. And then here I've got responders. So we're going to need another responder. I'm going to ask my team member, Elizabeth. She is going to be a subject matter expert in our website. And I'm going to add my other coworker, Connor, who is particularly good with public communications, and he is going to be my communications officer for this incident. Now, as I update those, you can also see over here on the right side my incident timeline, and if I refresh, it'll be up to date here. But you can see that every little change that I make gets added here. So later on, when we're doing the postmortem, we can figure all of that out. Speaking of communicating what's going on, we can also use Statuspage. Let's hop over here. Don't need that. Statuspage. All right. So we can actually have something automatically created in Statuspage whenever a certain kind of alert comes in. I prefer to control the message just a little bit more before I go ping all of my subscribers. So I'm going to create an incident. Website is down, and we are currently investigating the issue. This is Statuspage, by the way. I mentioned this earlier. This is sort of a beacon that lives outside of your infrastructure that people can look at to find. It's kind of like, is Twitter down? And I can say that this affects my website. My website is having a major outage. I can also predefine maintenance windows as well through Statuspage if I want to. And I can choose to send notifications to those website stakeholders. So I'm going to make this incident. Website is down. And something cool that's happening is if I come back to my service management portal, if I go to submit a ticket, if I come to my channel and back to my help center, whenever I come to submit a ticket, oh, why aren't you working? Well, that's frustrating. Anyway, I'll investigate this later. But normally, what would appear right here is you would see information about that down service right here in the IT service desk. This is a demo site. We have a lot of users in it, so it's possible that somebody administratively misconfigured it since our last webinar. But anyway, yeah. So this should be landing over here. And then you would be able to see, yes, we need to have, it'll basically head off future tickets. We'll figure out why that is after this. All right, so where are we? Let's come back to our incident. And let's say that we have now solved the incident. So I'm going to resolve this. And then right up here, it kicks off and says, hey, you should probably make a postmortem. Indeed, I should. So I'm going to create a postmortem. And this is going to take all that information and start dropping it into a form here. Come on, Opsgenie. There we go. All right, so I can list lead up, fault detection, root causes, mitigation, resolution, lessons learned. I've got an attached report, and then I've got all of the details as well as the timeline over here. Now, Atlassian is all about collaboration in their tools, and so I would rather work on this over in Confluence. So what I would do is maybe start on this really quickly and then export it to Confluence. And I've got one of those saved over here. So once it kicks to Confluence, this is what it looks like. I get all of the information from Opsgenie dropped in here. I get the responders that are now commented. So they just got emails about this postmortem existing out there in Confluence. I've got a link to the incident. I've got the postmortem owner, and then I have all that information that I started working on over there in Opsgenie. We can collaboratively edit this in Confluence here, and it even attaches the timeline as well as its own particular Confluence gadget. So that, or macro, I should say. So that's how you can use Opsgenie and Jira Service Management and a little bit of Confluence to manage incidents and tool alerts. Oh, one more thing I should say. If I come back here, after all of this is done, I can even close this ticket. I can resolve it. And then all of my other tickets are going to get automatically resolved as well because there's some nice background automation happening. Hasn't kicked off yet, but it will. All right, so that's incident management. Let us figure out change management next. All right, so I'm going to come back into our slides. All right, change enablement, which is a nicer way to say that than change management, I think. This is for change managers and developers. And the challenge is we want to manage risk and coordinate changes and ease bureaucratic effort without a lot of difficulty. And a lot of times, change management is arduous and unpleasant, and it requires a lot of people to do a lot of manual entries. So the solution is we want to do automated risk assessment, automated ticket creation, and automated resolution wherever possible. And the tools that we're going to use are Jira Service Management, Bitbucket, and again, automation for Jira. So let's hop back into the tool. There we go. And I think we are here. Okay, so the old-fashioned way, and you can still do this in the tool, it's no problem, is I can come into services and infrastructure and I can request a change. And I can have an entire change form here built out. And this can be a dynamic form, a reactive form, and I can choose what services are affected. I can choose impact, urgency, change risk, change reason. I can add my implementation plan. I can add my backup plan. I can add my test planning. This is a pretty complex form here. That is all things I can do manually. And then I can manage that change through my workflow and through an approvals, like a CAB approval status. That's all possible there. But what I want to show you is the automated change management that can now be done instead, which I think is super cool. And to do that, we're going to automate risk assessment using automation for Jira and services. So basically, when I identify a service, automation for Jira is going to understand what tier that service is and give it a certain risk rating. We're going to automate change requests by connecting Jira Service Management to our code repos so that anytime a developer commits code, it automatically creates a change request. We're going to automate approvals of low-risk changes. We're going to track and gate deployments via our CI/CD pipeline. So again, that's that automated creation of a change ticket. And then we're going to collaborate on changes with change calendars in here. So let's look at automated changes. I'm going to go to a bug. Let's see right here. All right. So I've got a story that I'm working on. I need to add euro to my payroll currency. And I have, basically that's going to affect my payroll system, which is a tier 3 service. And we saw the services earlier in our IT service desk. So I'm going to come to my payroll repo right here. And I'm going to check my notes here. All right, yeah. And I'm going to make a commit. This is going to be a real simple commit. I'm going to modify the README file, but you can assume this is a much more in-depth code commit for adding, let's just add my last name here. And just like in all things Atlassian, I can relate this to my story that I'm working on. And then all kinds of nice integration happens that you probably already know about. Like if I come back to my story and refresh, we will see in a moment, there we go. In my development section, I have one commit, and I'm also actually going to have a build and deployment in a moment. I can see all my pull requests, my branches relating to that. So that's already integrated there, which is quite nice. So let's go to my IT service desk, and let's look at our closed changes. And this automation takes just a little while. Usually, unfortunately, a couple minutes, and I never have everything timed right to talk about it. But basically, what's happening in the background right now is that in my repo, not pull requests, sorry, pipelines, that change automatically kicked off a pipeline. It automatically did a deployment, and Jira Service Management automatically picked that up and said, "Oh, you made a change," and then it modified that ticket. And where is that? I want to show you this. There we go. Normal change. That just happened? No. All right. Well, let me show you what it would look like, and it'll kick back out in a minute or two. So in this ticket, basically what happens is it figured out that the service affected was payroll. And because it's a tier 3 or tier 4 service, this is going to be a standard change. It's going to have a low change risk. And because it's a low change risk, it's going to automatically run it through the workflow all the way to completed. And we can see actually, if I look at my automation rules, we can see that the first automation that ran is it updated the change type and risk. And the second automation that ran is that whenever a deployment is completed, move it through its workflow based on the change risk. Come back to close changes and see if that appeared yet. Oh man, this is really taking forever. Sorry about that. All right, anyway, so what we saw there though is that when everything's hooked up, a low tier services commit will automatically create a change ticket and automatically close that change ticket without any intervention, which is wildly convenient for the developers. It could potentially save you hundreds of hours a year from having to do change tickets for standard changes, which just makes life a whole lot easier. Let's look at normal changes though. Normal changes are a bit different. So what happens when I make a change to our mobile app system, which is a tier 1 that has gated deployments enabled? So here I am in my mobile app repo, and I'm going to make a commit here to my README file as well in a different repo from before. Go ahead and commit that. And then we will see that our pipeline is running in progress here. So this pipeline does take a while to run. So I'm going to take a moment to show you the services again, which is connecting this all, or at least talk about them. Services makes all this happen in the background. They are managed objects in Jira that connect to Opsgenie, Jira Service Management, and code repos. So it's very much like a connective tissue living between all of these tools. And let's be honest, that's what we're here to make work, is these services that we're developing and running in production. If I hop over to the pipeline, we can see that my deployment has been paused because there is a change request pending. So what happened is Jira Service Management saw in my repo, on a tier 1 repo, that a deployment was happening. It said, hey, that's not okay. You need to do a change request first. So it kicked off a change request, which we can see right here, 16th of September, deployment 11. And that needs an approval. I'm an approver, so I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, this is fine. And we can go forward into implementing. And then after that, once I kick it forward in its workflow, oh no, I'm sorry, this is the wrong ticket. That's not the right one. This is the right ticket. There we go. It needs an approval. Once I approve it, I can push it forward in its workflow to implementing. And then if I come back to my repo, I'll actually see that picked up the change request. It knows it got approved. It knows we're implementing. So now it's going to complete this, this deployment here. And once that's done, it will actually reach back over into my ticket and automatically close that ticket as well, which is super helpful. Again, easy change management, smooth, powered by automation, powered by automated risk assessments, powered by services. All right, back to, here we go, here. So that was the end of the 3 demos that I wanted to show you. I think we saw in the very end too that delayed ticket that I was talking about, that actually finally showed up in my change queue here and automatically closed. You can see here, close changes. I've got that. Well, no, here, that's one. Yeah, here we go. I've got 2 changes here. It just sometimes takes a little while with the automation in cloud. I know that Atlassian's working to make that faster all the time, so we'll see about that. So coming back to our slides. All right, so this is the end of the presentation. I'm gonna do a Q&A in just a second, but first I want to talk about, we have a lot of upcoming classes, a lot of free webinars. This was Jira Service Management for ITSM. We have a webinar about how to do cloud migrations coming up next week. So if you're on Jira Server or on Data Center and want to go to cloud, this is sort of your first stop to find out what's involved, how to start planning it. We have a paid Jira Bootcamp class coming up. It's a 3-day intensive Jira administration class where you learn all the fundamentals of administering Jira. Confluence Bootcamp, same thing, but for Confluence. And then we have a lot of other webinars. Introduction to Portfolio Management in Jira, Introduction to Jira Align, Atlassian Governance, Atlassian Tools for Business Teams, all kinds of great stuff. So if you're interested in any of those, please feel free to go to our website and sign up for them, or you can always email me at brian.dar@expium.com, or you can stalk me on LinkedIn if you want. And again, we'll do Q&A in just a minute, but for those of you that have to go, I just want to say thank you very much for your kind attention. I hope you found this webinar very useful. And with that being said, are there any questions? All right, well, it seems like there aren't, so thank you very much again for your time and attention. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you maybe at the next webinar. Thanks again.